All right, DMCs. Not run DMCs, but you get where I'm going. Corporate team building activities. Anybody listening to this right now that has done a corporate team building activity, I sound like I'm being a little sarcastic, and kind of I am, but they're also kind of effective. But again, implementation of events, now local knowledge and resources. If you are having an event in an area that you really don't know much about, except that it sounds like a really good idea to go to this area for whatever reason, trust the experts. Trust local people to know what you want to do. New York City. If you've never been to New York City, we know what you want to see. We know what you want to do, generally speaking. School groups. Going to Washington, D.C. What do you want to see? What do you want to do? How's it going to work out? What are you going to do while you're there, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you can see a list of things there that it can be included, and it can obviously be a lot more than that. They work with all these folks, and again, it is the program. So, I've got a friend who does DMCs for school groups, and you go, oh my gosh, like that sounds like, why would you want to do that? Think about how many trips schools take at various levels, depending on where you are. To me, that sounds like a great customer base that's probably never going to go away, because the safety patrol trip every year, as an example. So they put together that program. Part of the incentive travel, and again, all these different things that they can do, and more, of course. But, hey, we got a bunch of money. We want to do something. We want to do it there. What do you got? And what's going to happen while we're there, and what can you line up for us? And people are coming in from all over the place. So how do we get there? What happens when we want to go off-site? Where do we eat? Who have we lined up? Boom, 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 boom. All this good stuff. And the budgets can be huge. The budgets can be small. They can be a bunch of different things. So DMC, DMO. You can see that, again, community and private companies that provide services. And new accounts from planners that have gone through a DMO is what the DMC does. So RFP, request for proposal, responding to that takes time depending on what the client is searching for or asking for. So, you have to make sure that there's lead time, and, we'll get back to you as soon as we can. And you probably understand that in many cases, it's competitive, and it may be more than one or two people bidding for that. So business structure, again, you can kind of see what goes into that. Because you're working with a lot of other organizations, it may not be a huge business. The links together are huge, obviously, but again, look at number 3 closely, licenses and insurance. When we're planning these events and we put everything in your hands, we don't want to have someone come up to us and say, what do you think you're doing? Why are you here? You're not allowed to be here. You can't do that here. Or the noise ordinance says this, blah, 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 blah. So that all gets taken care of because, again, we know the area. Strategically located office, again, liability like we talked about, all these different things that go into it, and relationship driven, and must keep up with the contacts. Probably most of the events that I go to, the larger events, someone representing these organizations are always there, and they know everybody. But it's that constant reminder, hey, don't forget about us, we're here, hey, we're thinking something's coming up next year, have you heard about this? And it's the relationship. That's hospitality, that's what we do. Independent operator, multi-services, destination management networks, again, depends on what you need, how big or how small you are, how large the area is you deal with. One of the things that I do in a lot of my old classes, and typically it's an assignment, but now I ask people to think about it. How would you sell your hometown? Where you were born, where you grew up. How would you sell that? And what is there that is at this location to make people want to come? For some of you who grew up in large areas, that's easy. For others, you're like, man, I don't know. There's something. And you may think it's cheesy and you may think it's crazy because you live there, but some people don't and want to see it. So usually there are very few places where you can't say, well, we have this, that, whatever. I'm not saying it's going to attract 1 million people a year, but it could. Again, clients and customers, all the stuff, representation of the customer who purchased the DMC service. The planner is the company or organization who works with the DMC. They can be 3 separate things, or they can be the same person or group of people. So you always have to remember about these relationships. And quite frankly, who you're working for and when, to be honest. Corporate accounts, look, we love it. Any hotel would love to have a corporate account that comes in for a monthly meeting and flies a bunch of their associates in, right? You'd love it. But it depends on what it is and what you can do. And the DMC clients, again, hey, we want to do this, roll it out at a marina. Okay, why? How many people? Do you need press there? All these different things that are going on. We love press when it's good press. Association accounts, like we talk about, fraternal organizations, educational conferences, political conventions, the educational conferences, like all those things that you see there are revenue generators. I was at an educational conference not that long ago for a school district that was just a professional development thing, but 50 people. And they were there all day, and they had breakfast and lunch. So I'm not going to turn away that kind of money, and most places won't. Now, that was set up separately from a DMC, but you kind of get where I'm going. Political conventions, every 2 years, every 4 years, especially presidential elections, who wants to host a political convention, and the logistics that go along with that. And then incentive-based organizations as well, you understand that too. So again, the sales process, I don't want to sit there and browbeat this too much, but you can kind of see these different things that go into it. And this is why, I can tell you that a representative from South Florida in a certain area, and I won't say who and name this person, but they travel all over the United States and they travel all over the world. And they're trying to do what? Sell this area. So they may go to a bunch of different things. There may be some specific events that are geared towards travel, but there may be some things that are kind of out there where they say, look, we know all these big companies are going to be there, and they're going to have a meeting somewhere. RFPs, again, project specs. And it is going to be everything. Right? Look at those things down there for product specs. Meeting spaces, how big, how much, where are they going to stay, when are they going to stay, what do they need when they're there, what are the attendees going to be like, what is their budget. Because everybody has one. And we're trying to, on our end, make money. And they're trying to have an experience for the least amount of money, right? Now you get that occasional client who's like, we don't care what it costs. Those are fun events to work. Honestly, very demanding clients, but they are fun events to work. But usually it is, this is how much money we have to spend for dinner. This is how much money we want to spend on breakfast. We're going to have 200 people staying in your hotel. What are you going to include? What do we get for free, essentially, as part of this? And in the case of a hotel with a built-in convention center or meeting rooms, there's going to be some tit for tat there where you're going to say, yeah, man, look, 200 rooms? Great. I don't have to worry about 200 people making reservations. We'll figure it out. All these things that go into pricing, time of year. In the spring in South Florida and a company's from up east, who wouldn't want to come here? Right? Like that is our, what we like to call season. So pricing is going to affect it as opposed to we want to be on the beach in July in South Florida where you're like, yeah, define on the beach because you might not want to put your feet in the sand because it might be a little bit warm. But that'll go into cost, how many staff members you're going to need, what's going on locally and all these good things. Hey, you guys wanted to come in this month. I need to let you know that there's an event that's happening at the same time. It's pretty crazy. So there won't be a lot of things that we're going to be able to allow you to do. We want you to take advantage of because they're all booked. Again, the bid process, competitive bid process, is not so that we can try to find out pricing and undercut people, but how many people have you spoken to? How profitable it's going to be? What are our odds? There's 25 people out there bidding for the same thing we're bidding for. Unless we are just the cream of the crop, it's not looking great. So things to consider. Start the development and then go to program operations, confirm with suppliers, and again, all these things that are happening because you're getting close now. And everyone starts to get briefed on the event happens June 1st to June 5th, and we're going to need boom, 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 boom. And then all of this stuff, look at all the stuff that goes into executing the program. Again, that I've paid a lot of money for. I pay you to deal with this. Why? So I don't have to. So take care of it because I'm paying you a ton of money. And a ton of money is relevant to the client, right? Doesn't mean that your 10,000 is any less important than my 2.5 million event. It's still a lot of money for your organization to do this. On-site challenges and changes going to happen, and you have to be able to deal with them. Okay. Production of the events. Look at all these different things that happen. Again, meeting with the client and know what the client wants. Making sure, good gosh, I can't say this enough, that everything is on time or as close to on time as possible because it won't be. So how does this stuff work out? The staff is ready for this huge gala dinner to start at 6 o'clock and all the meetings are ending at 5:50 and everyone wants to go up to the room and change and make phone calls. Food preparation's behind, everything's behind. So constant communication and constantly thinking on your feet. Get up to the wrap up in the billing. And again, this is a good time. And what you'll see a lot is when we meet with them, hey, how was it? I mean, listen, why go through this again next year? You loved being here. Your folks liked being here. Why don't you just make this your permanent meeting space from now on? That's our goal, is to say every year come here. Right? So if you're selecting one of these DMCs, how long have they been in business? What are their experience levels? Ask for references and really get into it. Probably chances are they've dealt with somebody or they're going to give you the name of somebody who's had an event that is very similar to yours. That's who you want to talk to. Personalities of the management team. I think that's important. You see all these different meeting folks. MPI and ILEA are huge in South Florida. Not that the other ones aren't, but they're two very big ones, and we affiliate a lot with them. Look, meeting planning's fun. It's a lot of work. The people that are really good at it are really good, and we want to work together. We're not out to destroy each other. So get to know those people. Again, at this point in the course, I'm hoping that you've already been to a couple of events, but if you haven't, it's a great way for you to go and network and really ask those folks what it's like to do this for a living. Best practices, we talked about greening before, we talk about it again. Crisis networks, because you don't know, we just talked about seasonal, hurricane season, standard of conduct, relationship management, very good. Ethical business protocols. Partner your DMC with businesses that share your ethical beliefs. And if you think that a client's not going to ask you about it, you're wrong. And so competitive forces of somebody just opened up and they want to be a one-stop shop, or this new person's coming to town and they want to basically be just like us. Pay attention to that. Again, like I said, our goal is not to sit there and say, we can't be everything to everybody. And if I can't, as an event planner and event manager, help you, I want to be able to find somebody who can, instead of going, yeah, I'm going to try it anyway because I really want this money, or, what the heck. No. I mean, I've told numerous clients I can't help them based on facilities or service style or something that they wanted. I don't have a problem with that. I quickly refer them to somebody else. Relationship building is key.